today?
I'm doing fine.
Good, good. Well, Mr. Byrne, my name is Lise Maisonneuve. I am the commissioner. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, nice and
Okay,
clear.
okay. And on the line with me is the two special advisors, Andrew Pipe and Noni Classen. They're saying hi to you. Can you see
Hello,
them?
yes, I am able to see everyone.
Okay, and we also have Pascale Ouellette, who's a researcher and is here to assist us with the meeting
Hello,
today. Well, I
Pascal.
think you may have had some communications with her by email.
Yes,
Okay, so let me start off, Mr. Byrne, by thanking you for reaching out to us to want to speak to us. We very much appreciate that. And the commission, I'm sure you may have seen the terms of reference. There are two mandates to the terms of reference. One of is the future of safe sport in Canada, and of course the future of the sports system as a whole in Canada. And I know you asked for an in-camera meeting, and we are treating this meeting as such. I want to reassure you about that. And we very much, when we meet with our guests, first of all, if you're okay, I'd like to proceed on a first name basis, if that's okay with you.
yes.
Okay. And what we do with when we meet people in the commission is that basically we wait we want to listen to you. We want to learn from you. And we're really here to hear your views on those two aspects of our mandate. So normally people kind of tell us their views, and as you're speaking, we ask you a few questions if you're comfortable with that. And it's basically a discussion. Are you okay with that?
I am very good with that.
Okay, so your first name, I pronounce it, is it Louis or Louis or
Louis,
Louis? Okay, excellent. So Louis, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about you and and then we're just here to listen. So please go ahead.
okay, so my sport is track and field. I have been doing track and field for 40 years, and I have seen all type of things. I am born in Peru. I migrated to Montreal when I was a kid. I went to French high school and college, and then I went to Toronto to go to university. So I consider myself pretty much very universal. I am myself. I think of belong to the English, French, and Spanish communities. Um, I did represent Montreal International when I was running in Montreal. I joined a club in Lima, Peru recently, and I was there a few weeks ago to participate at the national master championships representing my club, and it was amazing. There were over 500 participants. There were a lot of things that happened that took me by surprise. We made to number one spots on the relay 4x100 and the 4x400. It was not expected. We didn't have any credits to win, and we won the goal. So we are crowned a national champion, Peruvian national champion in Lima, Peru. I went to national master in here in
Congratulations.
Canada also.
Congratulations, Louis.
Thank you. So national master here in Canada, I was in Laval, Quebec, and it was no really the best performance. It was very hot. Um, so there is something that came out that it was um, in limbo for 30 years. I have to declare on a harassment that happened in 1989. I was harassing in Montreal. Uh, there was apparently some guy who had mental issues, and he harassed me constantly. Even up to 1994, he kept harassing me. After I left McGill University Club and I joined Montreal International, he kept harassing me. I wrote a letter to the president of the Canadian Masters, asking for this person to don't show up at the National Master because I didn't want to meet him again. Uh, I have no agent, so everyone recognizes me. I cannot recognize anyone. They have white hair, and myself, I have no agent, nothing at all. So everyone knows me. The problem is that my faculties uh, always will impress or overwhelm certain individuals. Some of them they have mental issues, and they see me. They see my performance. They see I am no aging. They see that I am not normal, and they come across with all these harassment attitudes. They know I am different, and I I pretty much attract their bad attitudes, and they come across to me and they yell at me. They come with the worst language. Um, I am not supposed to speak to them, and they are not supposed to approach me, and they come to me and they speak me bad. They think that because maybe English is not my first language, French is not my first language, because I am immigrant, I am open to be abused. And I consider this a whole in the sport in Canada. There are people who have mental issues who are practicing a sport.
Okay,
And yes,
Louis, Louis, can I just ask you a few things? First of all, I forgot to tell you at the beginning, you're free to speak French or English, or whatever you feel more comfortable with, so that's fine. But when you talk about this person, for example, harassing you, is that somebody within the sports system or just somebody out in society? Like,
no, this person has been in track and field for a while.
and is that like a coach, or if you don't mind
He
telling me?
was not a coach. He was a member of the McGill Track and Field Club.
I see.
Up,
Another athlete?
yes, to date, he's still
Oh,
a member of McGill.
okay,
His
thank
name
you.
is Malcolm Bulk. He has
Okay.
some problems.
And when you say harassed you, was he harassing you about your sport or your nationality? In which way?
He take advantage that I am no native English or French, so he mistreat me. He tried to tell me things, like for example, how to run, but the way he tells me, is pretty much inconductive. Is misleading. Is out of his own anger, uh, of his own frustration to flash out that what he could not become. That for me is very easy to do. Uh, so if I feel tired, for example, he start harassing me. You should run like this, with techniques that are misleading, because he's not a coach. He has not been literated or educated. He does not have any type of degree or scholastic on training track and field. Uh, he
And
we are
and,
just
and at the time, Louis, were you in university, or were you part of a university club, or where were you in your
when I
athletic
first came
career?
to Canada, I moved close to McGill University, so the stadium was right there. So my father he called McGill, and he was transferred to the physical department, and the head coach answered the phone. And at that time, the head coach, his name was Dennis Barrett, and I believe he's still head coach. He harassed me in 1989, that same day as Malcolm Bulk. Uh, they were kind of good friends. I'm not sure what idea was for them to train together. Malcolm Bulk, he has no speed. He was always last. The only thing I could see in this interaction between the two is that they have good times doing no sense. Dennis Barrett didn't take seriously his coaching, so the only thing he wanted to have is good time. And when he see me, doing well, he doesn't say nothing. When he see me doing bad because I am tired, because he's overtraining me, he start harassing me along with Malcolm Bulk. He knows that he was overtraining me. He was pushing me too much. He saw that I was tired. And the only thing he wanted is to have a good time with me, seeing how tired I was getting, how bad I was getting, and the two of them harassing me.
So that went on for how long, Louis?
In 1989, uh, the coach Dennis Barrett had us do a 1,000 meters time trial that I won. I beat all the guys. I was a little kid. I was 17 years old, and I was training with guys who were 30 or more, and they all got very pissed off at me, like this little kid beating all these big guys, and that ignite all this madness on Malcolm Bulk to leech on me all his frustration because Malcolm Bulk, he was always finishing last in every race. So Dennis Barrett, during the winter, he trained me for speed, and I was doing well on the speed. Like I was planning to run 800. I was not training for 1500. And what Dennis Barrett do is put me on a 1500 race when I finish last. And the next training day, they begin harassing me because I finished last. So I quit
And
McGill.
sorry, you quit McGill?
Yes,
How long were you there?
I was there for roughly 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And at when all this was happening, did you ever report this to
No,
anybody? Was
because
there a
back
system?
then there was nothing of this existing. That was 1989. Like nothing of this
Yes.
commission order, Athletics Canada did not exist.
Yeah, you didn't talk about maltreatment back then,
There
right?
was
That was not
there was nobody to talk to.
okay. That and so then you quit that because of the harassment?
Yes.
Oh, that's very too bad. I'm very sorry.
So
I'm
I
sorry
began
to hear
training
you
for
went through that.
myself, all by myself. I didn't join any club until 1994. In 1991,
And
I ran 1800 meters. Uh, Everyone was looking at me. Everyone who was playing there in that stadium, McGill, was looking at me. I didn't realize why they were looking at me. I was feeling very fast. When I stopped the watch, the clock was 4:20. That was 1800 meters. That was at 3:35, 1500 meters, which put me 1 second off the world record for a 19 years old.
incredible.
Yes, but it was opening a can of worms because Dennis Barrett, Malcolm Ball, they heard about that. They kept harassing me. They heard that my time in 1992, I went to the Olympic pre-trials in Montreal, and the two were there, and they were faking. They were cheering me, but they were just trying to annoy me, distract me. There was this other guy called Martin Goulet, who eventually he became the lead engineer of Athletics Canada. Not sure how, but he got fired because he could not engage enough bodies to get gold medals. So this guy, Martin Goulet, who I met in 1992 at the pre-trial, he registered me for the 1500 meters after he heard my time. He didn't say what time was my race. So I saw in the schedule 1500 meters was 6 o'clock. So I warm up and I was experiencing plantar fasciitis. So I was ready for the race. And what Matriculate said, you are known this race, you are racing at 9 o'clock with the elite. And my plantar fasciitis didn't like that. So as my foot get cold, my plantar fasciitis began aggravating. Um, I tried to keep at the pace at 9 o'clock, but my foot was killing me. So this guy, Martin Goulet, was absolutely of no help. He didn't speak nice to me neither. He was. I tried to join his club, Montreal International, Montreal Olympic Club, and he rejected me. And then I joined Montreal International. The coach back then was Franco Di Battista, and he was training Brigitte Nima, who was the junior Quebec record holder of 800 meters. And so I joined the club and I started training with them. But there was something that I didn't know about me, and I learned 2 years later. I was suffering from some bacterial infection in my stomach called Helicobacter pylori. So that was what's causing me to get tired. Like nobody knows, it's very hard to detect. But that explains why my ups and downs. On one day I was running very good, the other day was running very bad because I was losing my blood. In 1995, I collapsed after a race and I couldn't wake up after 3 days. When I woke up after the 3 days and looked below my eyes, everything was blank. There were no blood vessels. Um, my stomach has a big ulcer, and all my blood was pouring down there. On 1997, when I went to a school at U of T, they detected the bacteria and they sent me to a clinic to be treated. But all this, mistreated on because I suffer from anemia. Uh, I don't consider that it was the most conductive thing, me having to tolerate all these bad behaviors on me uh, because I suffer from a disease.
So Louis, if I understand what you're telling me, is that at the time, the system was not open to helping and to recognize personal struggles that really good athletes had and to assist the athletes
Exactly.
in dealing. Is that what
Yes.
you're trying to? Yeah, and you're saying that that's a huge gap,
Yes.
that the system should be much better for people like you who went through what you went through.
Again, I want to give the example of Martin Goulet, who did not have the capacity to recruit uh, potential gold medalists or medalists for the Olympics. So he got fired on 2012.
So what you're saying is that these people also have the power to influence someone's career, and if they, it's like bias. Is that what you mean?
Is that
They're,
they don't have the will to engage potential candidates. They may have, the the convenience to get along with people who they get very good with, but the true um, potential athletes are left behind.
I see. I see. Where can I ask you, Louis? Right now, where are you living? Are you in
I'm in
Canada? Or
Toronto.
you're in Toronto? Okay. Okay. All right. Where are you at in your athletic career right now? You told us what you just did, which was wonderful, winning the gold. But are you pursuing your career? Or
I
are
am
you doing it?
planning. I am planning on one side. I am working for CIBC.
Okay.
I am doing my career at CIBC, but on the other side, I spend whatever spare time I have for training. Sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 6 hours, doing all this training. I am planning to break world records at the master level. 2 years ago, I broke during training the 100 meters world record for my age.
Wow, that's remarkable. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm not sure who's calling me. I'm gonna put you on hold. Okay, 1 second. So on March 20 of this year, I was harassed
Yes.
again.
Okay.
So it was a big deal. I reported this harassment to a number of people. Athletics Canada assigned a commissioner, Hughes Fraser, to look after the situation, which did not help much. I tried to engage York management. They didn't help much neither. Rather, looked like they were not assisting in finding a solution for this. So I have to send an email to City of Toronto, and I engage Stephanie Supa. Stephanie Supa, I had a conference with her on end of July, I have the video conference recorded, and I could send the link to you. It's about 30
Okay,
minutes.
Louis, just give me a second. I'm trying to follow. Okay, so I'm sorry. I was just trying to understand. So you were harassed this year.
Yes,
What kind of harassment? What was that all about?
the same type of attitude, bad attitude toward me, like out of context. People who don't have nothing better to do other than speak bad to me.
Again, in the sport world, right?
Yes, it was at York University Track and Field Center.
And again, is it people, coaches, other players,
Yes,
or
there were coaches, two coaches.
and you think again it's the same kind of thing? A jealousy about your
One
time, or
one guy really exhibit mental issues. Maybe because his age, maybe because senility. The other guy out of jealousy because he see me training so hard, and his guys there are no trainings as hard as me, and he look at me that I am self-coached. My coach died last year.
sorry to hear that. So they saw you without a coach.
Yes,
Okay, and what kind of harassment was that, Louis?
it was really bad. They told me all type of things, so I could be discouraged from uh, sitting down on a spot that they have invaded. Uh, it goes against rules because there's no rule that determines who or is gonna sit where. The York Track and Field Center is an open center, open to the public. There is absolutely no restriction where you can sit down. You can sit down anywhere you want. There's no assigned amount of who is gonna sit or what corner you are gonna be using. So these people have invaded. They use the the gear and they don't let anyone else to use it. Even if their athletes are not using the gear, they don't let anyone to use the gear. And I was sitting there because I was training with another coach to work on my speed. And thanks to him, uh, 2 years ago, as I say, I broke the world record for 100-meter master because he coached me for speed, and he's no longer going there. So I kept sitting down the same spot. So on March 20, uh, I went to greet a friend of mine who was part of that group of athletes who was being coached by that coach, and there were two mats, actually three mats covering the floor. So it's just not possible to jump over the mat. You have to step over the mat. So I wanted to greet that guy, so I step on the mat, and this coach who has mental issues, he has brought at me all type of things, and even uh, he gets very um, uh, so aggressive. He challenged me that he doesn't care if I call police. He just wanted to harass me. He was not afraid if I report whatever he does to me to police. That pretty much that's what he told me. He was
Okay,
talking very bad, like a psychotic.
it was so he was yelling.
Not only yelling, he was menacing at me, and almost I felt he was going to hit me.
Okay, okay, and what happened? Did you just continue?
I brought staff, one member of the staff of York University, to listen to the conversation.
Okay.
Uh, so this other coach, he came, and totally out of context, he starts saying that because I am exposing my legs to kids, I am a pervert. Like we wear shorts, you know. So by wearing shorts, we expose our legs. So because I am wearing shorts and sleeveless shirt, I am a pervert exposing myself to kids, according to him.
Were there other athletes there competing with you, like wearing the same type of thing?
Yeah, and
Like was
everyone
there?
was listening, and it was shocking. They were all shocked. So there was another black guy who was running without shirt. He was black, okay? And they didn't say nothing to him. So why, if he's running without shirt, exposing his chest to the kids, why they didn't say nothing to him? So
Yeah.
this is telling me that it's not about me doing anything wrong, because I didn't do nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong wearing sleeveless shirt and shorts. Okay, everyone
Yes.
exposes his
Yes.
legs, everyone exposes his arms. That's a sport, okay? But when they are condemning me, pointing that I am a pervert, that I just happen because I am wearing shorts and sleeveless shirts and I am exposing myself to kids, I am pervert. Because what happened with the other coach is teaching kids, but the kids are never looking at me. So that's totally offending. It's pretty much a sexual harassment. Then he say, look at his shoes, look at his shirt. How many years you have been running? I told him 40 years. You have been running for 40 years? You are stupid. So it's like words totally out of context. Why I have to listen to this guy? I don't have to listen
Yes.
the words of this guy. There is a large amount of complaints I have of him. I reported to George Fraser, City of Toronto, and Job Management. Like a lot. Anti-Semitic comments, misleading advice on how to take calcium. He was recommending some guy to take 3 times the dosage of calcium in pills, but taking that much will give stones, kidney stones. So this other girl, he recommended to put her foot in the toilet and flush it. He touched a woman in her buttocks. He yelled anti-Semitic comments in front of everyone on December 2nd, on December 3rd of last year. So there is
Okay.
a huge list I exposed about him.
Okay. Louis, I'm just going to stop you there. I think Andrew Pike may have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, Andrew, go ahead.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Louis, for joining us today and for telling us about your issues. And also congratulations on your performance most recently. I have a couple of quick questions. Back in 1989, were you a student at McGill, or were you just running with the McGill Track and Field Club?
Again, when I first came to Canada, I moved to very close to McGill University. So I was attending a French high school back then. I was 16 years old. And so how I joined it, because my father called McGill University and asked if I could train there.
Yeah, so you were running with the McGill Track and Field
Yes.
Club, but you weren't a McGill student at that. Were
No,
you ever
I
a
was
McGill
a high
student?
school French.
Yeah.
I was going to French high school.
Were you ever a McGill student?
I would never become a McGill student after that happened.
Right, but then you went to Toronto. Did you go to university in Toronto?
Yes.
And did you run for U of T or whichever
I was getting
university?
injured all the time because
I see.
Because my problem with my blood.
I see. And what was you were a 100-meter runner? Is that right?
No, I am a multi-distance.
You're multi-distance.
I have medal on the cross country 10 kilometers. And I am 400 meters national master champion. So I am multi-distance.
You're multi-distance. And are you affiliated with a club at this point?
Right now, I'm affiliated to 2. Here in Toronto, I am affiliated to Toronto Olympic Club. My coach died last year. The founder of Toronto Olympic Club died last year. He was my coach. And
sorry, just remind me who. Can you remind me who that was? I'm sorry.
Paul Pose.
Paul. Yes, right. Of course. I'm sorry. So you're a multi-distance runner, but you're the world masters record in the 400 meters. Is that right?
So I run 10.5 for 100 meters 2 years ago during training.
Yeah.
That
Right.
beats the world best for 100 meters master category men's 50.
Right. But you hold a world masters record in the 400, did you say?
No, I am Canadian master champion in 400 meters.
Canadian masters champion.
Yeah.
But you broke a 100 world masters record in a training session,
Yes.
not in an event.
Yes.
Yeah. Righto. And could I just come back to some of the questions that Lise asked you a few moments ago? When the harassment started back in 1989, I think you said, was it typically related to your performance, your coaching strategies, your running style? Is that the kind of harassment that you were
Yes,
receiving?
all these factors.
Right. And has that typically been the nature of the harassment that you've been receiving in these events and at training centers and so on? It's always about your training style and your performances?
Malcolm Bulk, he kept harassing me all these years about that until 1994.
And after that?
After that, 1995, I left Montreal to head to Toronto.
Right. There have been different people harassing you in Toronto.
Yeah, but that only happened on March 20 of this year.
I see. And that was at the York University
Yes.
track that you described. Yeah. And I apologize. I should have recognized the inappropriateness of that suggestion. Louis, I don't think I have any further questions. I just do want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. And I understand the frustrations that you've been experiencing in the settings that you've described. And I'm sorry you've had those experiences, but describing them to us in our conversation today has been helpful and alerts us to the reality of some of these kinds of issues that is very helpful in our thinking. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Louis, can you you were telling us a little earlier that given this recent harassment that you've been through, that you filed the complaints at different levels, right? You said the City of Toronto. Is there a complaint mechanism internally that you could go to? Does that exist? Were you able to find that?
I don't think so.
So you filed a complaint with who over this latest one? City of Toronto?
So
York? Did you find anything with
so
York?
it was in this order. First, I brought this to the attention of Athletics Ontario. Athletics Ontario president, he recommended me to file a formal complaint with Athletics Canada. Hugh Fraser took over my case. He was not very helpful. I went to City of Toronto. I went to management of York Track and Field Center, and I brought all this to the attention. So management of Track and Field Center and Athletics Canada held a meeting together with these two people, but the resolution was not very helpful. So I wrote a letter to Toronto 311, and I explained the situation, and the case was assigned to Stephanie Supa. Stephanie Supa, we held a conversation online, and I brought all these issues about these two people. Like we spent like half an hour talking intensively about this subject. I brought a few times back again. So the last email I received about 1 month ago, she said that she has completed the investigation and he will take steps to rectify. I brought to her again 2 days ago, but I did not get any reply.
Okay, and when you complain to, or when you file a complaint with either Athletic Ontario or Athletic Canada, you said the resolution was not very good. What was the resolution?
The resolution was that they're gonna organize the center so this would never happen again. What I wanted is to have disciplinary action because the behavior of these people is unacceptable. How can there be coaches like this? There shouldn't be coaches like this, much less entering the center. So I want them to have ban and their coaching be Revoke.
Okay, so they decided that they would just make sure that the person's not there if you're there. Is that right?
No, they decide that they're gonna recognize the center, so there won't be conflicts like this again. But this doesn't really resolve the issue. This one person has mental problems. He's aggressive. He could kill me one day.
Yes, I understand what you're
Like
saying. So
when he has a person has mental issues, there is no logic, there is no association. Anything can happen. So I'm fearing for my life.
I understand. And when you did the process of complaining, and were you told throughout what was going on? Did it take a long time or a short time? Like how did that whole process work for you? Other than, I know you don't like the resolution, but the steps throughout the process, was it
So
long? Was it
so
short?
it covers from April to July when I met Stephanie Supa. So it's roughly 5 months, 4 months.
And in the meantime, were you still going there
No,
to train?
no, because what happened, I used indoor track when the snow is covering the outdoor track. So when there's snow on the outdoor track, it's just not possible to do anything serious.
I see. I see. Okay, I'm going to ask my colleague Noni if she has any questions for you, okay?
Sure.
Hi, Louis.
Yes,
Thank
hello.
you so much for speaking to us today. And I'm really sorry about what you're going through and what you have been through. I can hear how distressing it is for you. And I'm really sorry to hear what all that you're experiencing, and especially because you're so talented, right? And you have such a love and passion for your sport. Um, I'm wondering, did you ever have any intersection with the latest incident in March? Did you have any interaction with OSIC,
Uh,
like the Office of the Sport Integrity Commissioner?
I believe yes. I believe I sent an email
Yeah.
to them, but they say it's not between their scope because they deal only with coaches that are part of the um, Athletics Canada group. And if they are not
Okay.
part of the Athletics Canada group, they don't deal with it.
And so then where did they direct you back to?
They let me into dark.
They left you in the dark?
Yeah, so essentially they redirected back to Athletics Canada to fill a formal complaint, which already with you further.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so then you went back and it was really Athletes Canada that was responsible for doing something about it.
Yeah, but Hugh Fraser say he has no power to exercise disciplinary action.
Yeah. Okay. So now with where are you left right now with the resolve? Like I know there is a resolution that you don't feel like it's appropriate. Where are you now in the stage?
Again, I sent an email to Stephanie Supa asking what's going on, and I sent it 2 days ago.
But are you looking for her to change what's already been, what she's already proposed, or is there something new that's going to happen?
What I requested is to have these people banned from entering the center.
Right, 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 because you're feeling very intimidated.
It's not only that, it's that these people should not be there at all. Like,
Yeah.
they are vermins.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm wondering too, after when Stephanie comes back to you, how has Stephanie been? Has Stephanie been helpful?
Kind of. I consider that he has spent some time doing investigation, but I need to hear the resolution because if she failed to ban these people, I'm gonna have to engage RCMP.
Okay, so that's what you're thinking as next step.
Yes.
Is that if they can't help you here, then you may need to go to police.
Yes, but not only that, I have to also send a letter to Sebastian Cole, the president of the board athletics,
Yeah, to let them know.
to let them know what Athletics Canada is doing about this.
Yeah, I hope that there is something I hope there's some resolve for you.
Thank you.
So, Louis, I want to kind of summarize what you would like us to remember when we make our recommendation. And if I'm missing anything, please correct me, okay? So what you're saying is basically that the system that is that there's really no recognition of the effect of mental harassment,
Yes.
mental abuse
Yes.
by the system, and that there's no proper repercussions for people who act completely inappropriately in track and field, and you're very disappointed with Athletic Canada with their response.
That's
And that
correct.
they're not taking it seriously enough, and for you, it's very traumatizing to have been the victim of this type of harassment.
Exactly. I am exposing myself. I am giving my all. I don't have a family. I gave away everything for my training. I sacrificed my whole, and I went through all the pain for training. All my time is spent for training, and being like treated like that absolutely has no name. And there is absolutely no one person with a word to say, there has to be justice.
Okay. Well, I think we heard that loud and clear, Louis. And was there anything else you wanted to share with us today? Because we certainly will take all of that into consideration when we are deciding our recommendations. Was there anything else you wanted to add that we haven't covered?
Well, I got harassed again on the Central Tech. You know that there are soccer players who pay for using the turf, but they invade the track. Okay, they start playing soccer on the track, and it's very well written at Central Tech in Toronto that they are to stay on the turf. It's by rule. So there was this kid who was playing soccer on the track. I yelled him 3 times, and instead of running away, he started running towards me, and I cannot stop because I'm going so fast. So I have to push the guy. So these two people came across saying, "Hey, you have pushed kids. He's only a kid. You are an abusive." But there's nothing I can do. I have to push him because if not, we're not collide. And I reported this to the custodian of the track, and what he does is defending these two guys. You should have stopped. And I told him again, I cannot stop because the kinetics of running are pushing me forward, and it's just not possible to stop. It's possible to decelerate, but by the time I decelerate, I already have collided against the kid. So I have to push him aside. And the custodian also kept harassing me. So I told him, give me your name. I'm gonna report this to your manager. So I brought this to the manager of Central Tech, and he rehashed, soccer players are to stay on the turf. Okay, so these people broke the rule, and the custodian was encouraging them to break the rules. And who do I go? There's no justice again. I told, can RCMP be engaged? And he said, many times RCMP have been called, but RCMP they don't come.
Okay, so there's another example of nowhere to go.
Yes.
To make your complaint or to be heard.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Louis, if you don't have anything more to add, this has been helpful to us, and I very much want to thank you for taking the time to reach out to us and for meeting with us and for sharing your story. And I'm sorry that you've gone through what you have in a sport that you obviously very much love.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew and Noni, was there anything else you'd like to ask of Louis?
Just to echo those thanks. Thank you very much, Louis,
Thank
for
you.
being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Louis. Thank you very, very much. And good luck with all your running and your running career and your dedication towards your sport.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Louis, thank you for joining us, okay?
Ok, vous allez me trouver en journée.
Have a good day.
Au revoir.